Right now, you probably take bones for granted. You have 206 of them quietly holding you together, letting you walk, climb stairs, pick up your phone, and do all the completely ordinary things your body does without asking permission. But imagine breaking one. Not in a hospital, no ambulance, no x-ray, no surgeon, no plaster cast, no painkillers. Just you, somewhere thousands of years ago, with one very important question. Now what? Because breaking a bone wasn't just painful for ancient humans. It could completely change your ability to hunt, travel, gather food, defend yourself, or keep up with everyone else. And here's the strange part. We know some of these people survived. Their bones literally remember it. So what did ancient humans actually do when they broke a bone? The first thing to understand is that humans didn't invent bone healing. Bone had been doing that for millions of years before our species existed. When a bone breaks, the body immediately starts repairing it. Blood collects around the injury, new tissue forms, and over time, the body builds a hard mass of new bone around the fracture. Basically, your skeleton starts fixing itself. Ancient humans didn't understand cells, blood flow, or tissue regeneration, but they didn't need a biology textbook to notice something very important. If you damaged a limb, moving it too much made things worse. And that probably led to one of the oldest medical discoveries humans ever made. Keep it still. Think about that. It sounds obvious now. Thousands of years ago, it was survival knowledge. For prehistoric people, a broken leg was especially dangerous because humans are not exactly built to sit around comfortably for 3 months. You need food, you need water, you need shelter, and something somewhere is always trying to ruin your day. So if your leg stopped working, survival depended on something bigger than medicine. Other people. This is where broken bones become much more interesting. A healed fracture can tell archaeologists that somebody survived long enough for the bone to repair itself. And sometimes the skeleton tells an even bigger story. The injury may be badly aligned, the bone may be shortened, the muscles may have weakened, yet the person still lived. That means somebody had to help, somebody had to bring food, somebody had to provide water, somebody had to keep that person from wandering off on a useless broken leg. Human cooperation may literally be visible inside ancient skeletons. We don't know exactly what happened in every case, of course. Bones don't come with a medical chart attached, but the evidence gets much stronger once we reach ancient civilizations. In ancient Egypt, archaeologists have found large numbers of healed fractures. At the Giza necropolis, researchers examined 2,287 long bones from 204 adults, dating to roughly 2700 to 2190 BC. 45 bones showed fractures. And here's the surprising part. Most had healed with good alignment. Only 3 showed clear misalignment. That suggests many people were not simply left to hope for the best. Some kind of care and immobilization probably helped certain fractures heal properly. And Egypt gives us something even more concrete: splints. Wooden splints were used to help stop injured limbs from moving while they healed. Archaeological evidence from ancient Egypt shows this practice from the Old Kingdom onward. No modern plaster, no fiberglass, just materials people already had: wood, cloth, and a lot of patience. But here's the problem. Keeping a bone still is only half the battle. You also have to survive the recovery. Imagine breaking your leg and then lying there for weeks. Who's feeding you? Who's getting your water? Who's protecting the camp? Who's watching the children? That's why fractures are more than medical evidence. They're social evidence. Here's what makes this so important. When archaeologists find a healed fracture, they're not just seeing a repaired bone. They're sometimes seeing a group of humans choosing to keep an injured person alive. And that idea becomes even more dramatic with severe injuries. Take an ancient Nubian woman discovered at Tombos in what is now northern Sudan. She lived roughly 3,000 years ago and had a seriously damaged hip, along with healed fractures to her upper arm and ribs. Her femur had healed with significant shortening and deformity. This was not a tiny injury. A fracture around the hip can make movement extremely difficult even with modern medical care. Yet she survived long enough for these injuries to heal. Researchers concluded that considerable care must have been given to her because surviving such an injury would have required substantial support. Think about that. 3,000 years ago, someone with a catastrophic injury was kept alive long enough for her body to rebuild damaged bone. Not because the skeleton was magically stronger, because other humans were there. And sometimes ancient bones reveal the opposite story. Bones could heal incorrectly. At the Science Museum, a human femur from ancient Palestine shows a fracture that was never properly realigned. It healed in the wrong position. The result would have left the person with a shortened limb and probably a permanent limp. The bone survived, but it didn't come back exactly the same. And that's an important detail people often miss. Ancient medicine wasn't simply good or bad, it was a spectrum. Some fractures probably needed nothing more than time and limited movement. Others required splinting. Some healed remarkably well. Others healed badly. And some people simply didn't survive. We have to be careful here because skeletons are biased evidence. A person who died immediately after an injury usually won't leave us a neatly healed fracture. A person who survived long enough to heal will. So every healed bone is, in a way, a survival story. And here's the really fascinating part. Human beings didn't have to understand why bone healed to become surprisingly good at helping it heal. They learned through observation. You break something, it hurts. You move it, it hurts more. You stop moving it. Eventually, something interesting happens. The body repairs itself. Repeat that experiment across generations, and suddenly your group possesses medical knowledge. No laboratory required, no anatomy textbook, just thousands of years of watching what happens. So here's the full picture. A broken bone was first a biological problem, then a survival problem, then a social problem. Ancient humans learned that injured limbs needed protection and time. Communities learned to care for people who couldn't move. Ancient Egyptians developed practical methods like wooden splints. Some fractures healed beautifully, some healed crooked, some left permanent disabilities, and some ended lives. But every successful recovery reveals something bigger than ancient medicine. It reveals cooperation, because when you break a bone today, you don't have to wonder who will carry water. You don't have to wonder who will bring you food. You don't have to wonder whether your entire group can afford to stop while you heal. You go to a hospital, you get an x-ray, someone puts your arm in a cast, and eventually you go back to your normal life. But underneath all that modern technology is an ancient idea. When one human is vulnerable, other humans can help keep them alive. So the next time you bump your elbow, twist your ankle, or see someone walking around in a cast, remember what you're really looking at. Not just a broken bone. You're looking at one of the oldest stories in human history. A body trying to repair itself, and a group of people deciding to help it happen. Maybe that's one of the most human things we've ever done. And maybe it started long before anyone knew what a bone actually was.